Well, this dude decided one day when the Fed was in his cell that he had had enough. He lunged at the Fed and then slashed his with a shiv.
Really the hottest nigga, you gon' respect this lava. I'm shooting it if I pull it, boy, make sure you want this drama. I bring it to you like it's Law and Order SVU. Turn you to a vegetable, now you look good inside a soup. Family come from Bishopville, but I grew up in that Bronx Zoo where they shoot you dead in the street and then dance all on top of you. And I do what I gotta do.
Started. Please don't get me started. Started.
What's good, y'all? It's Natealmighty, aka the global dark-skinned ambassador, and I want to try something new. Now, if you see anybody else doing it, just know that it was me who originated this for this lane, and I want to react to prison stories, jail stories, war stories from other people around the world, around the country. So for the first video I'm going to bring to you right now, I got this brother who I recently discovered just doing my little ones and twos searching on YouTube. He goes by the name of The New Matt Clark. He is from Canada, and he has Canada prison stories. So without further ado, man, let's just get straight to it. And by the way, I also want to say, anybody who ever sees me doing any type of reactions to your prison videos, this is so I can expose my viewers to your content. This is not for you to make sure YouTube has a strike against me. I just want to get you some exposure, and I also want to entertain myself and entertain other people, and also just learn about what goes on outside of where I come from. If you see me do a reaction to your video, feel free to do a reaction to mine. You know what I'm saying? Just don't, you know what I mean? I'm from New York.
Stony Mountain, originally called the Manitoba Penitentiary. Now, when they knocked down Kingston Penitentiary, or not knocked it down, when they shut it down, ceased from operation in 2013, Stony Mountain became the oldest operational penitentiary in Canada. The medium part of it anyways, even older than Dorchester by 8 years. That's when the land was appropriated or whatever. And it was built up and running by 1877, and Dorchester was 1880. So they're both old, they're both haunted, they're both gonna have that dark energy.
Okay, so he says they're both old, they're both haunted, and they're maximum and medium prisons. Okay, it's getting interesting. Let's keep going.
Now, in Stony Mountain in 1962, they added a minimum side, which was originally called Rockwood Institution, and in 2014, they built a maximum security wing that I think holds about 95 inmates. Now, from what I've heard over the year,
95 inmates? That's not a lot at all. That's not at all. I mean, I know people do things in Canada. Canada is a safe place, man. So it's probably like a safe place, but you got your group of criminals, and who knows, those 100 inmates probably some of the grimiest niggas you would ever not want to meet. I have the misfortune of meeting in Canada.
Stony Mountain is the most dangerous penitentiary in Canada. There have been 5 murders in Stony Mountain since 2018. 5 murders. There have been multiple stabbings. And to top it off, so there was an unruly guy, okay? Been separated, put away, maybe in segregation or like a special handling unit, because he was probably a little out of control, didn't care at all about authority, and probably was one of those dudes who just swung on coppers if he felt like it. So they had him put on some special wing. Well, this dude decided one day when the Fed was in his cell that he had had enough. He lunged at the Fed and then slashed his with a shiv.
When he says Fed, I think he means the guard. So I'm understanding this Canadian lingo, right?
Now, I can't tell you what kind of shiv it was, but I assume it's some kind of a razor blade, some kind of something like that. And this guy got cooked. This officer had to be airlifted out to the hospital.
Yes, an officer like I thought.
Where he did survive. He did not pass away. But Stony Mountain has had multiple suicides, multiple murders, multiple overdoses, and with 30 to 40 active gangs. From what I'm aware, it has different levels of population. So there, most prisons have general population and PC. From what I hear, there's all kinds of different levels in Stony Mountain because of these gang beefs. Because, these guys might not want to go to this, be separated, but because of the politics and the amount of people that are probably trying to get them, they feel obligated to protect them. So these different zones are created. That is what I have interpreted from what people have told me how it is in Stony. And there's just so much gang problems all the time. A lot of the time, if certain gangs see certain gangs, it's on site.
Stony Mountain sounds like Green Correctional Facility. Sounds like Green Correctional Facility. See, this is why I'm glad I'm getting into this, because when you think Canada, you think Drake, right? People think Drake's soft. They not known for having a lot of guns, but people still get guns. They sell drugs in Canada. People get lit up. People get clapped. A couple years ago, Drake mans had got clapped on video. You know what I'm saying? Like it goes down in Canada. So I'm glad we getting into this. Let's keep going.
Now, if you go to Stony Mountain, it's primarily Native and white inmates, but I think primarily Native. And from what I hear,
what does Native
a pretty intimidating place. Now, if you see the picture, if you look at the thumbnail, it is one of those old school looking penitentiaries like Kingston Penitentiary, built 18 kilometers from Winnipeg, secluded, out, cold, desolate, making it almost impossible, I'm sure, to escape. Stony Mountain, to me, sounds like somewhere you probably don't want to go. And just for those of you who don't know, if you're from Northern Ontario, way, 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 way up there, places such as Thunder Bay, you will go to Manitoba. You will not do your time in Ontario, you will go to Manitoba, and if you get sentenced to federal time, you will do your time, and at least that's what I'm aware of. I can't sit here and tell you that it's 1,000,000%, because I could be wrong. I stand corrected if I am wrong, but...
Honest man, I feel like this brother... He has some integrity with him.
From what I understand, that's how it is there. Now, I did time in a fairly old school penitentiary, as you know, Joyce Penitentiary, which at times was a pretty savage place, but 5 murders in a population of 500 guys in a 2-year period, plus multiple other stabbings, assaults on officers, and
yeah, he right. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like in New York, it's thousands upon thousands of inmates. But for it to be mostly a max of 500, where it's almost all white, then you got some natives. By natives, I don't really know what native mean. Like, as a black man, when I think native, I think it's supposed to be black. But who knows? Maybe, I don't know, Samoan, something. I don't know. But only 500. And for it to be 5 murders, 40 different gangs, and a bunch of stabbings and stuff since 2018. And I don't know when he made this video. He made this video. This video got to be a year or 2 old. So that's from 2018 to like 2020, 2021. You know what I mean? White boys going crazy in there. White boys going crazy in there.
Probably all kinds of gang brawls. It sounds like conditions there are probably not good. It sounds like there's probably overcrowding. They shut penitentiaries down in our country, such as Kingston Penitentiary and Joyceville Penitentiary, as populations, and didn't build new penitentiaries. So obviously, they're sticking bigger wings onto other parts of these pens and creating more hostile environments. Now, if you ask me, the Canadian federal system, you're still going to do better time than you probably will in a lot of countries around the world. But prison is prison, and it can be savage. And almost all maximum securities are savage. And I'm telling you, from what I've read, Stony Mountain is that place. It is the big, bad penitentiary out in the middle of nowhere, looking like a black dolphin or something from Siberia. Just desolate prairie, tundra. And out in the middle of nowhere, there you are in this war zone. And you could go there for anything. You could go there for DUI. You could go there for a bunch of theft unders. You could go there for aggravated murder. They have everything in that penitentiary because it's the only one in the province. I think because of all the gangs, the smartest thing for Manitoba to do would probably build another state-of-the-art penitentiary and give these guys an opportunity to be away from their ops so they don't have to do this stuff all the time, and they can concentrate on working up here and making a better life for their kids and work on maybe some trades. But when you're in war, you can't concentrate on that stuff. And when you're in a gang, you're obligated to that war. You don't have a choice. And I think a lot of the time, the system fails to realize that. You know, you can't put people in an unwinnable situation and expect them to win. If you stack all the odds against these guys, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, I agree. You know, they, to a lesser extent than New York, they still go through the same thing everywhere, you know. I forgot what rapper said it before, but the world is one big ghetto, man. The world is one big ghetto, and where there's any kind of poverty, there's going to be a lot of violence. Men are naturally very tribal, very territorial, so there will always be gangs, you know. And it's really not in the best interest of these people who own these private companies that own these jails, or the people who control these jails and make money off these jails. It's not really in their best interest to separate everyone from all of their ops. You know, it's not in their interest to really rehabilitate people in prison. They tell you that it's supposed to be for rehabilitation, but for real, you know, it's just, you're kind of just there. It's kind of like they babysitting the savages until it's time for them to go home. Or if they there for life, you just babysat for the rest of your life. For real.
These guys live a rough life in the street, and then they come in and they live an even more rough life in prison. And it is crazy, the difference in the numbers of people that are arrested that are Aboriginal compared to everybody else.
I'm trying to understand, though, when he say Native and Aboriginal, who's he talking about? If anybody is familiar with Canada and they know what Native and Aboriginal means, what does it mean in Canada? Because when I think of Native and Aboriginal, I'm thinking people with brown skin, people look like me. But it can mean something totally different over there. But let me know, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's facts. obviously I share my stories with you guys so you guys don't have to go through these things.
Respect.
If I could snap my finger, nobody goes to prison, nobody gets killed in prison, nobody's addicted to drugs, nobody lives a tough life, nobody experiences abuse, PTSD, trauma. That's what I would do, but that is not reality. And we're living in 2020, time of the crazy. Now, this is a little bit different, obviously. I'm just kind of...
Okay, so he just said 2020. Remember earlier, he said there been 5 murders since 2018, and that was 2020. So they might have doubled that by now. I ain't gonna lie, they wilding in there. The white boys going crazy. White boys are going crazy, you know what I'm saying? They putting in a lot of pain. Facts.
Giving you a general idea of what each and every penitentiary in this country is like in the last couple of years and what you can expect if you go there. If you check, you know, Google and stuff like that, they don't really tell you what's going on. So if you're on your way in, you can't really get an idea. So that hopefully my videos will at least give you an idea of what's going on.
This is a stand-up guy right here. This is a stand-up guy right here. And I can tell he's sincere in everything he's saying. This is somebody who been through something and he's constantly striving towards being a better man. I like this guy.
On there, and I'm telling you, in my years at Joyceville, we heard a lot of stories about Stony Mountain. It always had a reputation of being a gangster prison. It always had a reputation of a lot of people getting killed, getting stabbed, war on site kind of place. And it's not going to change until there's a better opportunity and there's a reason for these guys to change. You know, I ask the high-ups in the prison system, if you had nothing to get out to, if you had a government that looked down on you, if you had a community that looked down on you, why would you care? Why would you care? And that's how a lot of convicts feel, and I'm sure that's how a lot of people in Stony Mountain feel.
All right, we're going to end it here. I like this guy. I really want to interview this guy. I found his Instagram. I added him. I don't know if he's seen it. And he was like, hey, who the hell is this? I don't know this guy. But I really want to interview him. I wanted to reach out to him before I did this video. But the new Matt Clark, I salute you. This was an entertaining story. I learned what goes on in Canada. Y'all let me know if y'all like this video and y'all want me to do more videos from this brother right here. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.